Hi Cancer, I hope you guys are doing great today. Welcome to your journal messages for the 15th through the 30th. So this is going to be covering the last 2 weeks of September. I'm covering 2 weeks because my schedule's a little nutty. So I'm going to start off with some astrology. Those of you who are new here, welcome. My name's Jackie. I combine tarot and astrology, and I normally do weekly messages, but for this this particular week, I'm going to be covering a 2-week time period. So I'm going to be beginning the reading, discussing the astrology while I throw down some oracles. Then we'll go into a Celtic cross spread for general messages with tarot, and then I'm going to pull additional spreads for relationship. Everything's going to be time stamped in the description box below. If you don't wish to hang out for the whole thing, I totally get it. Not everybody likes the astrology. Some people just want to get straight to the relationship stuff. Some people don't care about that. So it depends on what it is that you're into. I always recommend hanging out for the beginning part to contextualize the messages, especially these 2 weeks. We have a lot going on. We have the full moon in Pisces, we have Mercury going retrograde, and we have a lot of other things speaking to our chart. Now remember guys, these are general messages. I don't know you and I don't know your personal natal chart. So take everything like that, right? You're going to accept the messages as understanding it's for the general archetype of Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. And I always recommend you check each of those signs for the best and most complete messages. So let's get into this. First of all, on the 15th. I want to start by Cancer. I want to give, now those of you who've been watching me know I'm not like scary. I don't focus on any of the negative, and I'm not doing that this time. But we have on the 15th, Mars is moving into Libra in your 4th house. And a lot of times when Mars is in Libra, Mars is anywhere in any sign in the 4th house, we want to be careful of any sort of like burglaries. Mars rules fire, anything like that, all the way through mid-October. Now, in addition, on the 20th, it's going to be in conjunct a star, a very powerful star named Shiat. And Shiat rules over water and general misfortunes. And I'm not looking to be scary, but I want to emphasize, I want to sort of start the reading out by just saying, be careful with things at home. Make sure that your stove is turned off, the oven is off, that your pipes are working okay. If something sounds funny, pay attention to it. All of this is not, I'm not going to say is going to happen, but the energy is very open to it happening to you guys. Okay, so I sort of just want to get that out of the way initially. Okay, now on the 21st, there's going to be a full moon in Pisces in your 9th house, conjunct Neptune, and sextile Pluto in your 7th house. Now, full moons bring things to a culmination, and this is in your 9th house of higher education, religion, belief systems, negotiating, for those of you who are in a space of negotiating, launching, marketing, advertising, long distance travel, or even living abroad, anything like that. This could even have something to do with your in-laws. Your in-laws are in the 9th house. So you might be closing a chapter in any of these areas to begin a new cycle. So for some of you, this can manifest as a work being published. For others of you, you're becoming a spiritual leader, or you are finalizing some sort of educational project. Some of you may, if you're living abroad, you need to happily move maybe back home or to a different location, right? But this is all good. This is all good, and this is all pushing you into a space where you're considered an even higher or more respected member of your community. So this is entirely good. Then on the 23rd, we have Venus and Scorpio in your 5th house, and that's going to be opposing Uranus and Taurus in the 11th. So a friend, Cancer, that you have in your life can suddenly share with you that they have deeper feelings. If you're in a relationship, a current relationship, your partner might suggest a different approach to your relationship that could easily come as a shock to you, where you're like, oh, wait a minute, wait, what? You want an open relationship, or you want to try to work out a long distance relationship, or something that's different than what it is that you guys have going on right now. Now, those of you with kids who are older, there can be a sudden surprise in the life of your kids, who maybe they suddenly want to move out, or they suddenly want to elope, or something like this. It can be very surprising. But it'll be okay, right? It'll definitely be okay, regardless of whatever it is. Now, if this has to do with anything that you're working on, any sort of a project that you're working on, some sort of business connection, you could suddenly come up with a really good idea. And this idea can come to you out of nowhere, and it can transform your whole business, your whole perspective in the way that you handle business. It's the change that is incited here. It brings this very surprising improvement into how things are playing out in the way of business or any sort of entrepreneurial effort or anything that you're working on in a very focused way to manifest, or whatever that is. And then on the 27th, we have Mercury is going to be stationing retrograde in Libra in your 4th house. Now, the 4th house represents home, ancestral roots, your deep psychological foundation. So when we have Mercury retrograde here, Mercury retrograde can shake things up, right? Having to do here with your current living situation, or this could even be an energy where contracts can become undone, because Mercury also rules your 3rd house and 12th house, right? So 3rd house is about contracts and 12th house is about dissolving a situation. So there might be something going on like that. So there might be a delay in paperwork. Make sure that if you are like closing on a house or you're finishing up a deal or anything like that, that you have your end nice and tidy, that you are delivering everything that you need to deliver, that you're reading all the fine print and all of that, okay? Now, this energy can also reconnect you with a family member, or push you into a space where you're deciding to kind of cut somebody off because they're just way too toxic and you just absolutely do not want to deal with them anymore in your life. And this can be a space that you're at, but in a way where it ends up being a really, really positive thing for you. So I do like that. Okay, let's see what else we have here going on. And okay. So that's what we have going on for the astrology. Now, the last thing that I want to mention, though, why I think this is going to be almost a very spiritual energy, is because this Pisces full moon on the 20th, it falls about 1 hour after Mercury trines Jupiter at less than 1 degree. And as I say a lot of times on my channel here, Jupiter is always in a very tight dance with karma and destiny, and it's just a beautiful energy. So spiritually, this means a very optimistic, a very generous, a much more fortuitous vibe is available to all of us. Now, depending on what else you have aspecting in your chart, you know, that's going to actually drive your experience more than anything, as again, this is a general reading. But overall, this is great for business, for study, research, planning in general, socializing, traveling, anything like that. Now, this is a strong influence because of that 1 degree orb, but also because Mercury is conjunct the most fortunate of all the fixed stars, which is Spica. I don't speak a lot about the stars, just because I don't want to confuse anyone. So if you want me to start working in the stars, leave comments below. I'll be happy to do that. Spica is very special, though, and this is going to incite very ingenious thinking. It's going to help you to tap into having greater faith right now. And why I like this is in your 4th house of your emotional foundation. So you're going to be figuring out what it is that you need with a lot more clarity in your life to feel grounded, rooted, safe, and secure. It's a very supportive energy when you have to deal with anyone else outside of you, but also it helps to incite positions of authority, meaning where you're going to finally be able to problem solve, having to do with that family matter, having to do with that investment, having to do with whatever it is that you need to bring into your life to incite a stronger foundation. The energy is going to be so available. So it really is nice, okay? I wanted to mention that. All right, so let's get into the oracles. A personal issue reaches resolution. Full moon in you here. Clarifying that, we have pay attention to the signs. So there's definitely, again, very spiritual energy, as I was mentioning before. Right? I mean, seriously, like with that Mercury trining Jupiter at less than 1 degree while there's a full moon, hello. I mean, that is just really powerful. And we have build on solid ground and a hole in the soul. So you really need to look at, where are you feeling the sense of lack? A hole in the soul means something that you feel missing that you might be looking for somebody else to fill. And you have to be super honest when you're looking at holes in your soul. Where do they come from? Where is it coming from? And who are you looking at to fill it? Or what situation are you looking at to fill it? and this recognition of it. And a lot of times when we recognize it, we realize, hey, you know, we could fill that hole in ourselves. We actually don't really need anybody else. Not that we don't need anybody else in our life, but we don't need anybody else to come in and fix us, that we have all the tools in our toolbox to fix us, right? We don't need anybody for that. So we have this personal issue reaches resolution. Pay attention to the signs. There are going to be a lot of serendipitous energies hitting you, especially with that Gemini North Node in that 12th house. You know, Mercury does rule your 12th house, Cancer, so there's a lot of mental activity. There is going to be a lot of digging into the past, really calling yourself out on your psychological challenges, where you might feel like you get in your own way, having to do with anything. And so it's from that point, though, that you're going to be able to build on solid ground, right? And be able to recognize this area of lack. Where do you feel this sense of lack? And looking at it with great clarity. Definitely emotions are going to be running high, especially whenever we have a full moon in a water sign. Emotions are always running high, for sure, right? It's the supermoon energy in the moonology cards, but emotions are certainly going to be running high, and that's just generally the energy of right now. Now, having to do with this, with that the full moon in the 9th, what I really, really like for you guys is it's actually going to be sextiling Pluto in your 7th house of relationships. And the thing is, Saturn as your 7th house ruler, whatever's taking place now in relationships, having to do with contracts, having to do with marriage, having to do with deep interpersonal connections, whatever's happening right now is going to last a long time. So whatever you get into right now, as far as a business opportunity, relationship, anything like that, with this sextile to Pluto in the 7th, with that Saturn rulership that you have there, really, really, really nice energy. There's going to be a lot of emotion that's absolutely going to be rising up to the surface as well, though, because you're going to be very focused on your ability to feel safe and secure, right? Because that we got Mars, we have Mercury retrograde, and then we have the Sun is then going to be moving from Virgo into Libra. Everything's happening in your home, right? And 4th house is where you guys live. So emotions are running high in love. And that could be with anybody that you love. It certainly doesn't have to be. Not everyone is in an intimate relationship. This could be friendship, family situation, anything like that. Live life to the fullest. You're all about that right now, and discover your life purpose. So there's this energy of wanting to lighten things up and just have everything be okay. Everybody being on a level ground, figuring stuff out once and for all. That's kind of the energy that you're going to be in right now. You're just really wanting to do that. Nothing will come of this situation. Avoid, of course, moon. That's sort of like there's no air in a void, of course, right? So if there's some sort of situation that you are in the middle of right now, that you are really concerned about, or that nothing big is going to come of it. Nothing big is going to come of it, and it needs to be let go of. So this could be, though, totally positive. Let go of that situation that's really not going anywhere. Where do you feel like that cycle keeps happening over and over again, and it just isn't going anywhere? Whatever it is. Is it the same old thing with that workmate? Is it the same old thing with that roommate? Is it the same old thing with that relationship, right? It's like you feel like things are just not going to be, you may feel, not progressing forward the way that you really want them to. And you're not going to be able to not look at that, right? Because you do have to understand that Mercury retrograde is going to be squaring that Pluto energy in the 7th house. So there's going to be a lot of when it comes to like any sort of contract, any sort of needing to negotiate with anybody, not really the verbal negotiating, but like contractual negotiation, or negotiating any sort of interpersonal relationship. And that could be, again, from anything from a roommate to a marriage partner, a business partner, anybody like that. There's going to be a lot of tension because there's change there. The change needs to happen. And if you're not getting the results that you want out of a situation, you're going to be very focused on allowing something to be released while you keep to your commitment. Right? But you do want to be careful of the victim consciousness mentality, especially because we do have Neptune in that 9th house, which is where Pisces is right now. And that Mercury that rules your 12th house, or wherever our Mercury energy falls, we have it retrograde, and that 12th house has to do with that victim mentality. So as you think about how things have gone on, as you think about how things have rolled out, you may be in this space where you're like, hold on a second, why do I need to be the one to martyr what I want, need, and desire? Why do I feel like I'm the victim of this situation? Why am I getting the lousy end of the stick? And why do I feel like I'm being taken advantage of? And that may be very real, depending on what else is aspecting your chart. So if you feel like you're absolutely being taken advantage of, you have to step up and say something, right? And recognize that if a situation is not respecting you, it's time to let it go. You know, at the same time, you want to make sure that you're not caught in this space where you feel like the victim in something because you want it to be different than it is, but you're dealing with a person or a group of people who aren't capable of giving you what you need. So it's more about a mismatching of energies than anything else. It's less that you are a victim and more that maybe you're just dealing with people who are just not right for you and your energy because they're not able to meet you halfway and compromise in the way that's necessary to make a situation work. So that's what we have for the general lay of the land. And let's see what's going on for the general messages. But a lot of like standing up for yourself kind of energy as well, which is always good. I love all the energy going on in your 9th house. It's just really great. Something that very surprising energy, though, that Uranus and Taurus is going to be impacting that 5th house. So again, ideas about some sort of project, ideas, new situations presenting themselves having to do with romantic situations as well. So we have the Princess of Swords, and that's being challenged by the Ace of Wands. Then recent past, we have the Queen of Coins. Very nice. Ace of Cups, yes, present situation, new beginnings for you right now. Yeah, Queen of Coins, nice energy. Taking care of your body, your mind, your soul, your finances. For those of you who are in a relationship, the influence here could be marriage, deepening of your connection. This could also indicate money coming to those of you who are already coupled. This could have to do with a very sensual sex life, leading even to fertility. For those of you who are trying to get pregnant right now, could certainly be that. Some of you may be dealing with somebody who's very reliable, very supportive, very affectionate, generous energy. For sure, maybe this is somebody that you met in the recent past. Where you're at right now, you're the Princess of Swords. So this is an energy where, first of all, you're relying very much on your intelligence right now because sword is air, it's mind. So this tells me right now that some sort of useful information is coming into you, whether via through an epiphany, through verbal communication with somebody, maybe something that you see online. But whatever it is, you're getting help from people around you to further something that you want to roll out, to further your ambition. So this could be a contract coming your way regarding a job, any kind of agreement. Actually, it could be anything like that. This could also be somebody coming in and speaking their truth to you. So remember, going back to that Uranus and Taurus in the 11th, this could be a friend coming in and saying, okay, listen, sit down, I have to tell you how I really feel. The challenge here is the Ace of Wands. So you may not feel the same way towards them that they feel towards you. It could certainly manifest like that if this has to do with the friendship situation. The Ace of Wands is it's a very auspicious card having to do with new beginnings, new enterprise, new creative projects. This is also about virility, right? An energy of virility, a new chapter of passion, motivation. Right? But right now it does seem like this is the challenge that you're dealing with in the moment. It just does seem like that, right? So that is the current challenge for you, is having that new fill in the blank, whatever it is, for the Ace of Wands. So the basis of the situation is the Queen of Cups. So Queen of Cups in astrology is Gemini and Cancer. So this is having that conversation to discuss what it is that you want, need, and desire to feel grounded, rooted, safe, and secure. Now, for some of you, you might literally be having a conversation about home, especially because you have Mercury retrograde in there with Mars. Then the Sun is going to be moving in there in Libra in your 4th house. So there can be a conversation about something that's going on within the house, within the home environment, having to do with your home. Either moving in, moving out. some sort of situation going on with a roommate. It could have something so literally to do with that, maybe even an investment, right, having to do with home. But it can also be that element of groundedness. But it's having very high emotional intelligence and not being afraid to really speak your mind, right? Not be afraid of what it is that you need to put out there to have your voice heard. So this is very, very nice. Now, we have the Ace of Cups as the current situation. Ace of Cups is a great energy. If this has to do with a relationship that you're in, an existing one, this does indicate strong love and support. This can indicate falling in love for some of you. Others of you, this can indicate fertility and pregnancy. If you're single, this could have to do with spiritual growth, but regardless, a very creative time, right? Something that matters a lot to you coming to fruition. So it could have to do with that home, that relationship, that situation, but whatever it is, it's speaking to your ability to feel more safe and secure in your life. So what needs to be looked at here is the King of Coins. So you have to ask yourself honestly, where or who in your life is not able to give 100% of themselves to a situation. As the King of Coins, well, it's a very generous, very hardworking, and just a good person, but there's an element of greed about this, right? And this needs to be looked at. So maybe you're the King of Coins, maybe you're dealing with the King of Coins. The King of Coins is a very solid energy, but doesn't have any patience for anyone who's looking to take what's his or hers. So that can manifest in the way, obviously, because it's coins, it could be money, where, maybe somebody is being a little stingy, a little cheap, they're a little funny with their money, or it could just be nothing to do with money. And it could be this idea of somebody is just not willing to make the necessary changes that are needed in order to make a situation work. And that needs to be looked at. Spirit is saying that is the strategy, that is the recommended approach, that you have to look at where is somebody not, whether it's you, whether it's them, maybe it's a little bit of both of you. Whatever it is, not stepping up fully to the plate. Now, the energy that's external to you, I feel like there's a little finger pointing going on, because we have the Four of Cups, and this is not you. Again, this is an energy that's external to you. And the Four of Cups can be this energy that feels very disillusioned. And is this ever going to be okay? Is this ever going to, and feeling like, well, this isn't working out because Cancer does A, B, and C, because Cancer does this, this, and this. And this is somebody who does really, okay, maybe they have a point in whatever they pull out that they're pointing out. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It kind of doesn't matter. But from a subjective point, they're not looking at themselves clearly enough within a situation to identify where they need to step up better and differently, and where they might need to heal something from their past that's still simmering under the surface, that's affecting their experience in this situation with you. And we have the Five of Coins in your challenge, and this is a very psychological card, and it's in a very psychological position. So it's like inside of you, you may feel right now, Cancer, that you're being very tested. The testing could be of your resources. The testing could be of your connection to a relationship. The testing could be, it's like, okay, Cancer, wait, and you're feeling like, really? I can't, what else is going to be going on, right? It's that kind of testing. So some of you might feel like you're worried about money. You're fearing losing the security of your home. Some of you may even be feeling very disconnected because of a breakup or because of the passing away of somebody. You have so much more support than you realize now, but it's almost like internally you're trying to find your footing in something that you feel like is not really 100% settled. There's like this element of feel. I'm getting a very like unsettled feeling, right? But now I love this. In the near future, we have the Ace of Coins, which is great. Some of you may be getting a new job. This is just auspicious for happiness and contentment and getting what you want. Money coming to you quickly, or you're at least shown how to achieve what you want. Connection coming to you, or you're at least shown how to meet somebody new. That resonates with you more, right? This really does indicate a foundation of stability. It's very much a good luck energy. But in the near future, we have the Five of Cups, which is very interesting because, again, this is not an entirely negative energy. First of all, it's minor arcana, so it's not going to last. But this is Mars and Scorpio. So feeling this challenge in the transformation of something and feeling this sadness, feeling this loss. feeling that something maybe ended before you felt ready for it. So whatever situation, it could have had to do with work, money, relationship, whatever it was, you're going to be able to deal with it and move on and make a new start and get past it. You definitely are. Again, minor arcana, there's really more of a focus on the 3 cups, 1, 2, 3, that are down, and she's not even recognizing the 2 cups that are still standing. So not all is lost. It's just there's a focus on something that like didn't work out or didn't, you know, and there's this element of disappointment that has to do with that. I feel like we need judgment. Okay. So we have the Judgment, which is Pluto. You know, it's the High Priestess and the Justice energy in numerology, which is really about, you know, first of all, feeling something inside, keeping a secret, where you're evaluating how emotionally fair something is, how equitable a particular situation is, and you assessing it and you saying, okay, like now we need to let go of whatever's happened up to this point, and I need to make a decision about, you know, exactly what it is that's going on. Then there's going to be a very important conversation that takes place that's mutually supportive. 2 of Cups is a very positive conversation about things that need to be ironed out. And we have the Princess of Coins. So Princess of Coins, this is very much about your talent shining. This was very much about money news coming in. This is another auspicious beginning regarding finance, business, an offer made on a property or some sort of educational situation. So if you need to move, anything like that, this is a good energy. Expect the unexpected with the Knight of Swords. You might be dealing with somebody who's a little roller coaster-ish, you know, unpredictable, you know, where you're in this thing where they create a lot of drama, they take no responsibility for it, and they just sort of leave everybody sitting in their wake, right? So it's a very unpredictable highs and lows, sudden truths come out, but it's an unpredictable, expect the unexpected energy, but whatever it is, it's going to end up in your favor, because then we have the 10 of Coins, which is really good. Because this is about deepening of whatever it is that you're working on. This is shared values. You're dealing with people who have shared values. This is sharing property, deepening of communication, commitment, whatever it is, a very mature energy. It's almost like, so if you're dealing with somebody who wasn't on the same page as you and they just weren't able to show up in the right way, having to do with that work situation, roommate situation, relationship, whatever it is, it ending up in your favor. So this is good. Okay, so that's what we have for that. And now let's go into relationships. So I'm going to pull a past, present, future, and final outcome with qualifier for you, and then also for an energy that you're dealing with. Okay. Or Cancer friends, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Cancer first. On the top, Knight of Pentacles, the Empress, the Hangman. Okay, dealing with some shady energy here. Okay. Or you may just not be completely disclosing how you feel about a situation. This is for the person that you're dealing with. Okay. So the Knight of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. So, Cancer, some of you may be dealing with a person who is super loyal, dependable, all that good stuff. You know, but as I always say with the Knight of Pentacles, they might be a little missing something, whether it's boring, whether it's, and I hope that it sounds so terrible, but you know, maybe they're just, you guys don't share a lot of the same interests maybe, or they're very slow to share their feelings, and you're a water sign and you're like, what do you mean, you know? Like, it could be that, but where you feel like there's something missing, even though they could be your rock, they might lack the excitement, the interest, something to capture your heart for the long term in a really satisfying way. It does depend on where you're at, because I know a lot of Cancers would be like, give me boring any day of the week, as long as I don't have to worry about anything else. Right? I mean, a lot of people would be like that. So I always want to say that it depends on where you're at in your life. But clarifying that is the Seven of Swords. So because this is a Moon in Aquarius energy, you might be feeling this about this person, but not really disclosing what it is that you're feeling inside. Because you're not completely, you don't have your your emotions and what it is, how you want to handle this, completely crystallized. So that could be something, right, for some of you. For others of you, you may be in the space where you're dealing with this person, and the very thing that you feel like is missing, that thing, you feel like they're a little dishonest. Could be a little dishonest, but you know, where that you sense an element of immorality. You sense this energy that would likely like run away from responsibility in situations in the relationship. Somebody who you're seeing early signs, or suddenly you're seeing signs of selfishness and not being able to exercise healthy boundaries. And even though it might not be like overt and horrible, it's something that's really, really troubling you, right? Or was troubling you, right? This was in the recent past. So then we have, right now in this situation, we have the Empress energy being clarified by the Six of Cups. So some of you, particularly because it's Mercury retrograde season, you know, you might be thinking about somebody from the past. The Empress is Venus. Venus is obviously about love, about things being equitable, the ability to grow in a situation. Straight up love, Venus is, right? Being able to level up. And with the Six of Cups is feeling very nostalgic for the past and wanting to reconcile with something from the past, maybe reconnecting, to find a new balance in the relationship, especially if you've suffered any kind of mistreatment, right? You wanting to remedy that with somebody from the past, or even within a certain current situation. If you're in something where you're feeling like you want to just remedy a situation, because you might be in a situation where you're recognizing that the person that you're with, you're suddenly really not trusting them the way that you would. And the nostalgia could be for an earlier part of your relationship. Now, some of you may actually be pregnant, right, with the Empress energy, because it's, you know, she does rule fertility as well. She's the mother of the tarot. Or you want to work on having children, right? The idea of having children. But you feel like you need to find this balance within the relationship right now. It does seem like that. So what's going on in their recent past is the Three of Pentacles being clarified by the Queen of Pentacles. So the Three of Pentacles is somebody who really very much wanted to build something with you. This is an energy of collaborating, successful collaboration, Mars and Capricorn energy. Yeah, somebody maybe who, this person, maybe you worked with them in the past at one point, maybe you went to school with them, something like that. But this is a person who really wants to focus on, in the past, they were totally in the space of really wanting to focus on growing, right? Because this is a marriage energy. This is money coming to those of you who are coupled. This has to do with fertility. This has to do with the sensual sex life, right? All of these things. Very reliable, supportive energy and really wanting to grow. So that's what I see going on here. It's very interesting, though, because at that point, you're like, wait a minute, something very funny is going on with that. Meanwhile, it seems like they were in a better space with you than you were with them. But here we are now where you're like, okay, you know, something needs to be sort of remedied here as far as the situation. The person that you're dealing with right now, though, we have the Eight of Swords, and it's being clarified by the King of Wands. So some of you may be dealing with somebody who really just wants to be free, keeping it real. I mean, very direct interpretation. The Eight of Swords is a Jupiter and Gemini energy. This is saying to me that the person you're dealing with feels very restricted, very limited, very trapped, thinking things are never going to improve, and that ends up inciting anxiety in them. And that creates some sort of like ability for them to feel like they're in the right thing anymore. Like at one time it felt right, but right now they may be feeling like it's not. And I know that's not easy to hear. That's being clarified by the King of Wands, which is about being a free spirit and about wanting something, expecting something to be very perfect. So you might be dealing with somebody who, it's like somebody who's critical, Cancer. Somebody who's very critical. But it's like they don't recognize the critical nature. They don't recognize how it's making you feel. They don't even recognize within themselves when and how they're being critical with you. So it's almost like them having this this awareness, like, I don't know if this is going to work with Cancer anymore because of A, B, and C, right? Only looking at what they're focused on. They may also feel like they're not measuring up to what it is that you expect of them or from them as well. Now, in the near future, we have for you, we have the Hangman, and that's clarified by the Hierophant. So some of you may be pressing the pause button on your marriage, on the idea of getting married, on what's expected within a relationship, the idea of conforming to what's needed in a relationship. The Hierophant energy is also about temperance, right? It's in numerology, it's the temperance energy. And what is temperance? Temperance is about cooperation, moderation, reconciling and healing, and this new sort of level of patient cooperation and trust to get past a volatile time period, right? And that's clarifying this element of confusion, Cancer, because I'm getting here that you feel like if you stay in this the way that it is, you're going to end up sacrificing what it is that you ultimately want for yourself, for your life in relationship. And you're really not convinced that it's actually going to be a good investment of your energy and your time at this point. Where are they at? Eight of Wands and the Ace of Swords. This is somebody who very much wants to communicate with you, and this is great news, especially if you guys have been having challenges. The Eight of Wands is about good news coming in, feelings that have been held back are being shared, you know, and what's being expressed is this desire to grow with you. And then we have that being clarified by the Eight of Swords, which is great for relationships, getting over past obstacles, right? So that you're dealing with somebody who very much wants to get over past obstacles, but they made you feel like garbage first, or at least questioning like what you were doing in the relationship. But it almost seems like the second you pulled back and you started questioning, they were like, oh, wait a minute, where's Cancer going? So let's see what we have as the final outcome energy. Yes, my friend, we have Justice. Like it. Yeah, I mean, Justice is exactly what we need. And for you, this Justice energy, it's Libra. Libra is your 7th house, which is where, you know, Pluto is sitting. We have Saturn sitting there as well. So there's going to be this, there needs to be this identification of where your emotional needs are and are not being met, and you have to make some really beautiful changes there. This does indicate a new chapter of passion. So for some of you, you're going to just, okay, let me just say it straight up. For some of you, you're going to be recognizing that even though somebody might want to work something out with you, you really want to focus on yourself. You want a new beginning, because you're recognizing for a lot of you that you're not going to be able to get what you want in this relationship as far as something that's equitable and loving and safe to be in. Others of you, you're having that deep communication. You're able to actually incite a new chapter of passion and motivation and a new beginning within the relationship. And your partner having this starting off with the Strength energy, being clarified by the Nine of Pentacles. For those of you who are making the decision to leave the relationship, general message, so I have to give both, it's because your partner has a hard time balancing out their ego, and they need that ego stroked. So they really do, they need to look at that though, because that equals insecurity and vulnerability. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is about them doing a lot of healthy work on themselves right now, because they need to balance something out. So for some of you, you might be deciding to step away from the relationship, and this person that you're dealing with really needs to do some hardcore looking at themselves. For those of you who are staying in the relationship and you're having a new beginning and you're going to know who you are, the Strength energy is about, okay, somebody needs their ego stroked, but there is the energy that's available here to find balance in the situation so that you guys can have healing, so that you can then have a healthier connection. But with the Nine of Pentacles, it's about you and them doing some beautiful work on yourselves individually and then coming together to have a more productive and healthy version of a relationship. So, you know, it's actually quite nice, actually, however we slice it. So that's what we have for this portion. Now I'm going to pull some cards for those of you who are maybe in separation. Okay. Okay, this is going to be for you. This is going to be for them. Now, the energies could always be enmeshed in the relationship reads. Most of you know that, but I like to say that anyway. Energy does not understand the difference between the two. They just don't, particularly when you're working with. So I like to always say, take the, the holistic message and apply it to your life accordingly. Okay, so this first one up, coming from you, that's how I'm reading it. Time passes, but my feelings don't change, even though you no longer trust me with your heart. And for them, I wasn't honest with you about my feelings at the time. So it looks like maybe you guys maybe hurt each other here. And connecting you, we have the runner. Runner in a codependent relationship, fear of intimacy and listening to ego. Kind of like what I was saying about that strength card, right? Next up, we have I miss looking into your eyes and into your soul. This is what I pulled for your second card here. I miss looking into your eyes and into your soul. And for them, I cheated on you out of real love. I cheated you out of real love. I cheated you out of real love. I ghosted you because of my own insecurities. Photograph, looking at photos, missing you, nostalgia, wanting to make new memories. Third up for you, my memories of you haunt me and keep me thinking about what could have been. And then coming up for them, I wonder if you still think about me. How do you feel about me now that you've had time to reflect? And connecting the two of you, we have love, unconditional love, self-love, affection, attraction. Last up for you, I still feel your energy around me. I never believed in these things before. I do now. And for them, you were my sanctuary. You were the only person I could confide in, and I betrayed your trust. Dragonfly, be lighthearted, finding out, things coming to light, adapting, changing to heal. Wow. This is the energy that's available. If you don't want to get back with them, if they were some sort of narcissist or whatever, just sit it out. You don't have to. Nobody's saying you have to. I'm scared. This is coming from them. They're scared. I miss having fun with you. I miss you so much. I'm so insecure that I am in constant need of external validation. I know it's messed up, but it's why I do what I do. I am too self-absorbed to be who and what you need. Wow, somebody is really struggling with who they are. But it seems like they still have very strong feelings for you. So this is what's available to you for these last 2 weeks of September. And to keep in mind, with Mercury retrograde, for those of you who are not in communication, don't be surprised if the communication comes in, but it can be a little challenging because it is squaring that 7th house, right? Between that 4th and that 7th house. So don't be surprised if the communication that comes in can be pretty challenging, between the two of you. Even though it can end up being productive, it can certainly initially be rather challenging because it's some deflection, I feel like, coming from them. All right, my friends, that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a beautiful rest of your month, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.